there for a while I was really worried right after my heart attack. I didn't think I'd ever get back to work. I was feeling discouraged and depressed.
Mr. Cummins' reaction is a very common one shared by hundreds of other victims of heart disease. After medical or surgical treatment, the person who has been hospitalized for heart trouble is faced with the overwhelming reality of sorting out his new limitations and capabilities. Families of these patients have dozens of questions that need answering and educated professional help in planning lifestyle changes. Kettering Medical Center has developed a program called Cardiac Reconditioning. Dr. William Castle is the director.
Cardiac reconditioning is an outpatient service designed to improve a patient's tolerance to exercise following a heart problem. We've found that many patients, when they leave the hospital, have real fears about how much activity they can participate in at the time they leave the hospital. The aim of this program is to allow the patient to obtain their maximum degree of physical activity that is consistent with safety to the patient. After a patient's had a heart attack, we usually wait about 12 weeks before we enter them in this program. If they've had cardiac surgery, we usually wait about 6 to 8 weeks following their operation.
Program. Does insurance help pick up the cost? How can a person get started in reconditioning classes? Well, for the answers to these questions, let's talk with Harv Walker about the program.
For coverage of the reconditioning program, policies differ. Now, all insurance will cover the stress test. A patient is charged $19 per treatment and pays according to the type of insurance. As an example, Blue Cross with Major Medical will cover 80% of the treatment. That leaves a balance of $2 to $4 per treatment for the patient to pay. Medicaid welfare will cover the patient totally. All the patient need do is secure the necessary approval from the agency. Regular commercial insurance will also cover 80% of the total cost, if that company is listed under those that will honor such claims. My advice is to contact your agent and have him check your policy and work it out.
But who can qualify? How can a person get started in the classes? The key to entering the program is your own physician. It is the patient's doctor who refers the patient to the program by verbal or written orders. A medical history and pertinent information concerning the patient is obtained by the reconditioning department. Before the program of exercise is initiated, a stress test is performed during the first visit. Present to observe the patient and study the results. From the results, a prescription for exercise is written. Cardiac monitoring is carried out during the exercise. The amount of work is gradually increased as the patient tolerates it. Progress notes are sent to the physician periodically or when specific changes have been noted on the monitor. Exercise guidelines written for home instruction are given to the patient in order for the patient to maintain a good exercise tolerance. These guidelines, along with a discharge summary, are written to the attending physician when the patient has received the full benefit of the exercise program. A follow-up stress test is designed to assist the patient and medical staff as to his increase in tolerance and exercise level. One benefit of the program is that the patient gains confidence in his knowledge of the amount of work he can tolerate at home.
Well, right from the very first, I thought, exercise? Isn't that a little risky? Or could give me a problem in doing this at home after having a recent heart attack? But the instructors told me, after explaining what I'd had and what damage I'd done to my heart, how the exercise could help me in strengthening my heart, and hopefully I can return to the full responsibilities and get back to my job as soon as possible.
Along with the thing, educational classes are held using videotapes, written materials, and nurse instructors holding question and answer periods to which families are also welcome to attend. The registered nurse supervisor involved in implementing the program has not only worked with cardiac patients for 8 years, But as the wife of a man with heart disease, she can empathize and give valuable first-hand tips on common obstacles the cardiac patient must hurdle. Jean Shearer comments.
Patients enter our program quite sobered by their research and the knowledge that changes need to be made in their everyday life. Depression is common in patients after heart attack and open heart surgery. We've noticed a change in our patients' attitudes from the point of initiation. Somehow, getting back into an exercise program lifts that depression and restores that spark of hope and zest for living they had temporarily lost.
The instruction is given us to ensure that all important information is heard and understood. There is also that bond of camaraderie that develops when others are working toward the same goal. It is somehow encouraging to be with other class members who have gone through the same thing you have, particularly for the other members of the family. Once everyone accepts that there will be changes, progress can be made.
You know, the biggest change I made was a change in my diet, and it was a change for the better. I feel healthier now than I have in years, and my wife does too. What it really amounts to is just plain good sense about eating.
Should a patient have specific questions concerning his diet, a call goes in to Claudia Steele, the registered dietitian who is specialized in the nutrition of the cardiac patient. She is ready to help define the patient's problem and search out the answer.
After I had my heart surgery, I was looking for a program because I wasn't doing very well. So I called Jean Shearer and I got on this program down here. I couldn't even walk from my house to the road or the mailbox without getting angina. So I came down here and proceeded on the program. At the beginning I started, and just in the warm-up I had angina, just in the first 2 minutes. And then after being on the program for a period of time, then I got to where I could walk extensively for 5.5, 6 miles an hour, and walk even as long as 8 minutes in the warm-up, 12 minutes. And then now I walk every night. I walk about 3 miles, and I walk for about 45 minutes every night. And it's really done a great deal of good for me.
I think one of the things that this program has done for me is I was laying in bed, flat on my back. I was wondering, well, what can I do? Am I still going to be able to function? Am I going to be able to work? And I think this program has given me the confidence that I can still go out, do a good job, and survive in a workaday world. And when you're laying in bed, I think this is the one thing psychologically that plays havoc with you, is you really don't know after your heart attack what you can do. And this program has helped me to put confidence in my own well-being and my own health.
As a step toward maximum recovery, cardiac reconditioning offers the personnel, equipment, and careful plan to initiate a positive program of progress for the post-coronary patient. If you're interested and want more information, just call Kettering Hospital and ask for the Cardiac Reconditioning Department. Phone 298-4331, extension 5410, or ask your physician about enrollment. Kettering Medical Center is named for Charles F. Kettering, an inventor, educator, humanitarian, and energetic philanthropist whose dreams led to the building of Kettering Medical Center. Noting a need for a hospital in the community south of Dayton, the Kettering family worked with community leaders and the Seventh-day Adventist Church to build Kettering Medical Center. Ever since 1963, when ground was broken, the medical center has grown from what was originally envisioned by Charles Kettering as a 200-bed community hospital to a 500-bed regional care facility with a satellite hospital in Miamisburg, Sycamore Medical Center. Both medical centers are operated by the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Adventists operate over 140 hospitals and sanitariums around the world. In the planning of the medical center, both the Kettering family and church officials emphasize the strong educational role of a hospital in employee, patient, community health education, and training of new health care workers, which led to the building of Kettering College of Medical Arts. Although the hospital has no formal department of patient education, activities exist within nearly every patient care department, like diabetic education, pre- and post-operative instruction, cardiac reconditioning, total joint replacement, and pulmonary education. Television is a major component of this education. This television support is broken up into two areas: general health education and specific medical instruction. The leadership of KMC points out that television allows a far more comprehensive educational effort than could possibly be conducted by conventional methods. Furthermore, much of the technology required for distributing a closed-circuit patient television system was already in place by using the hospital's antenna system. Then, by adding several videotape players, some monitoring equipment, and modulators, the system was usable for educational purposes. The first effort in patient TV was of a general health education nature. An unused TV channel was chosen and named KMC TV. Since the average length of stay at Kettering is quite brief, a 7-day cycle of programming was thought adequate, and on March 3, 1975, KMC TV went closed circuit. Early skepticism and concern on who would control the content of the channel almost led to an early demise. But enthusiastic patient reception and the realization that the period of hospitalization is perhaps the best time to motivate a lifestyle change led to the expansion of KMC TV. Today, KMC TV broadcasts over 60 hours a week, with the emphasis still on prevention-oriented health education, along with inspirational and entertainment programs. KMC TV's full-time program director works with leadership and advisory committees to review the progress and make recommendations for future endeavors. Program offerings include It's Your World with Art Linkletter, Medical Memo, a program that explains services available throughout the hospital. Update on Health. Stay Well. Does It Have to Be This Way? With Don Knotts. A recital of piano music. KMC TV is promoted guide placed in each patient's room. The program guide not only gives information about Channel 4, but includes articles by Art Buchwald and Isaac Asimov. The viewership of Channel 4 is kept in check by running offers of free, healthful recipes, cookbooks, and attractively printed booklets on such topics as stress, weight control, and heart disease. Interest created in health improvement is supported by the Medical Center's Community Health Good Life education program. Each year, thousands enroll in Stop Smoking, Cardiopulmonary Resuscitation, Slim Chance, Childbirth Education, Adventures in Dining, Health Information for Schools, Babysitting Classes, and KMC's exercise program. While KMC TV and other TV stations are involved in broadcasting, RX-TV is into narrowcasting. The prescription television service, RX-TV Channel 12, is often satisfied with a viewership of 1 for some programs and a small group for others. RX-TV provides programs of a specific nature. Nurses and doctors can call in requests for certain programs at a certain time for certain patients. And unlike other stations, if the program is missed, it can be replayed later. What do patients see on Channel 12? Most patients see before and after your surgery. Other programs provide pre-surgery information about a specific surgery, such as hysterectomy, gallbladder, and open heart surgery. Other teaching programs help patients understand the many complicated tests performed in the hospital, such as myelogram, heart catheterization, colonoscopy, or oh, you say it.
The esophagogastroduodenoscopy, often called the EGD for obvious reasons, is a visual examination of the esophagus, stomach, and duodenum. In this exam, the physician uses an extremely flexible lighted tube called the gastroscope.
This program explains that the name of the test is worse than the test itself. Most programs tell the patient how they can help the doctor so that the test is as tolerable as possible. Teaching programs for mothers are also included on RX-TV, programs like breastfeeding, family-centered care, and baby's sponge bath.
Here very well with water, and then take your soap and rub a little soap on your hand. We don't like to put the soap directly on the baby's head because you get too much and it's hard to rinse off, and that could cause trouble. Then you take your hand.
Some programs on Channel 12 are regularly scheduled. Every weekday at 11 a.m., a life-saving technique is shown, how to examine your breasts. Female patients are made aware of this very important program during the admitting interview, when the patient receives a prescription to tune into RX-TV Channel 12. This prescription form is used widely to inform patients of other programs that have been scheduled just for them. By using television in a way that is directly related to the treatment plan, physicians are encouraged to include patient teaching programs on their orders, and by having other healthcare professionals who teach to record these teaching experiences on the patient chart. A full-time patient TV coordinator has been assigned to coordinate activities between the nursing staff, doctors, and Channel 12. The coordinator also promotes the use and proper utilization, along with researching purchases or the production of programs by the instructional media production crew. On both Channels 4 and 12, patients learn new healthful ways of living and simple lifestyle changes that can lead to more satisfactory health, and information that can help their current hospital visit be more tolerable. After several years' experience with various forms of patient education by television, Kettering Medical Center still remains favorable to the use of the media and plans to expand its television health education activities to include subscribers of cable TV and through interconnects to other public institutions and schools. KMC has also produced programs for use on local TV and cable channels. 90-second spots for Channel 22's evening program.
Do you like to feel good all the time? Well, of course you do.
The staff has also produced safety programs on home fire safety and rape prevention. The Instructional Media Department also assists in the production of employee educational and training programs through the Department of Educational Design. Subject matter for these programs range from new procedures or policies to basic employee training. Some of these programs are shown over KSE TV, Channel 11. Monitors are located throughout the hospital and classrooms close to work areas. This staff education channel is also used to broadcast seminars held in other classrooms in the hospital, or seminars brought in by satellite. All KMC TV channels are shared with Sycamore Medical Center via microwave. Many slide tape programs are also produced for both employee and community health education.
The Mystery of the Tired Rabbit.
Once upon a time, Rupert Rabbit and Tommy Turtle lived together in their very own house. They played together, they ate together, and they went to school together. But one morning, Rupert decided to sleep in. So Tommy Turtle had to fix and eat breakfast all by himself. He drank his orange juice, he ate his egg, and he ate his toast.
Rupert helps young people to learn healthful eating habits and realize the value of a good breakfast. This slide tape program and accompanying coloring book is a part of the many brochures and booklets produced at KMC in the Instructional Media Art Department. 2 full-time artists create a showcase of graphics for a host of functions ranging from booklets to slide tape to television. The Community Relations Department publishes 4 times a year the Caring magazine. It promotes health education and prevention and is circulated in nearly 150,000 homes. Kettering and Sycamore Medical Centers are using all forms of communication to inform and educate the patient and community to a speedy recovery or a prevented hospital visit. As Charles F. Kettering said,
"Now, we looked at birds until we learned how to fly, but we never put feathers on the airplanes. In fact, with all of the skill of all the aeronautical engineers in the world, we couldn't make a feather today. And all of our engineers and all our science can't make a leaf. But we can do the same thing that happens in the leaf, but it won't look like a leaf. That's all I'm talking about. Somebody said, what do you think is going to happen to technology in the future? It's going to keep right on going, because when you know so little about anything that's going on in the world, somebody's going to find out something tomorrow. And that's why I said, if I was writing a book today, I'd say the title would be, Yes, but Tomorrow is Another Day.
Somebody dies from heart disease every 32 seconds. Many risk factors contribute to heart problems. Some cannot be controlled, but others can. One of the easiest to monitor is your cholesterol level. Today, WHIO begins mass cholesterol screenings for the public, and medical reporter Linda Robertson is at one of those sites right now. Linda, we've been giving a lot of new information about cholesterol really in the last year, haven't we?
Well, that's true, Deborah. There have been many questions concerning the accuracy and the effectiveness of these screenings. But the doctors I've talked to say the bottom line is that the simplest way to monitor for a potential cardiovascular problem is to know your cholesterol level. And research has shown that these tests are safe and accurate if administered properly. Knowing what your cholesterol level is could help you prevent a life-threatening health problem, and screenings like this are 97% accurate. On top of that, anyone testing people for their cholesterol level is a qualified medical professional who's had previous training in how to conduct and evaluate a cholesterol test.
I think a program that's done in conjunction with the medical centers like Kettering and Good Samaritan is a pretty safe one to be involved with. The system itself, from an instrumentation point of view, is basically pretty safe for the people that are running it. They're also trained in how to work with anybody coming into the screening and really remove any risk that people would be, I think, concerned about.
An elevated level of cholesterol is one possible cause of damage to arteries when the fatty substance builds up, causing a blockage.
We know that for young and middle-aged people that lowering cholesterol is important. There are many studies that show that if you have cholesterol that's high, over about 240, especially between the area about 250 and 300, that if you lower your cholesterol in that range by 1%, you can lower your incidence or the development of coronary heart disease by about 2%. And the studies have shown that.
Now, knowing your cholesterol level is important, but there are other risk factors that you should also know, and we'll talk more about those during the week. Now, you can still get your cholesterol level checked here at Town & Country and also out at the Salem Mall until 8 o'clock tonight, and then you can come back tomorrow at 10 a.m. It will run tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. and again on Thursday. Reporting live from Town & Country Shopping Center, I'm Linda Robertson. Now let's go back to the News Center.
Thanks, Linda. That's a good program.
Just ahead, News Center 7 salutes the city.
Began its cholesterol screenings for the public yesterday. Nearly 3,000 people have taken advantage of the tests. Along with the screenings, medical reporter Linda Robertson continues her series with a look at a man who changed a life sentence by changing his life.
Okay, that's good. That'll be enough for me today.
Bert Schock has developed a much different taste for foods over the last year. He eats more fresh fruits and vegetables and limits red meat. The Dayton man changed his 62-year-old habits because he found out a year and a half ago that his life depended on it.
The slightest exertion, why I'd get this little, what I felt was a heartburn, and so it progressively worsened.
Bert had a cholesterol level near 300 and underwent 6 bypass surgery. He immediately cut out fatty foods and started exercising every day, whether it's on his treadmill, the rowing machine, or his stationary bike.
You can use your arms and or feet to really get your pulse going.
Through these changes, Bert's reduced his cholesterol to a much safer level.
About a half a year later, I had my cholesterol checked. I think it was through a WHIO program, and was in conjunction with Kettering, and it had dropped to 205 or 203, and then that was just through dieting.
Now Bert has a new outlook on life and feels great.
I love to play tennis, and about half-time I can beat my son and son-in-law, and gosh, they're half my age. The great one has really watched over me, and so I'm not going to blow it this time.
The hospital also took the chance to honor the employees for a job well done. Hospital officials tell us the center performs about 800 heart surgeries per year, but new technologies could reduce that number significantly.
Clear that we're going to see relatively fewer heart surgeries performed and relatively more catheterization type procedures done in the heart catheterization laboratory as we begin to expand our ability to open coronary arteries without surgery.
February is also, of course, National Heart Month. It's a good time to get the heart checked out.
Some heartwarming news on this Valentine's Day from Kettering Medical Center. Today, the hospital announced it has performed 10,000 open heart procedures. Hospital officials celebrated this milestone with a Valentine tree ceremony. Open heart surgery can greatly improve a heart patient's quality of life, and no one knows that more than someone who has been there.
I was told I wouldn't be able to drive. I was told I wouldn't be able to play golf. I was told I'd have to watch every step I made. So I just say I'm thankful that all of that I don't have to worry about. I think I live a pretty normal life.
Kettering Medical Center officials say surgery is no longer the toughest thing for a heart patient. The hardest part now, they say, is to convince the patient to change their habits, to stop smoking, and to diet.
And Mammogram Awareness Month. 1 in every 10 women in this country will develop breast cancer, but cure rates through early detection exceed 90%. The key to early detection is the mammogram and breast self-examination, but experts warn of non-accredited breast evaluation clinics.
The mammogram is of no value if the quality is not there. So the quality of this mammogram is utmost importance in this chain. They look at the person.
Accredited women should ask questions such as, is the radiation dose less than 1 RAD, and is the facility accredited by the American College of Radiology? Well, there is a new surgery technique that grafts a band of tissue from the abdomen to the...
Well, in the past 25 years, Deborah, Kettering Medical Center was on one single hospital on 7 Boulevard with 400 beds. Since then, the hospital has increased its capacity, many of its outpatient services, and branched out with Sycamore Hospital in Miamisburg. Officials say these are just a few of their reasons to celebrate. It was party time at the hospital as employees commemorated the day Kettering Medical Center became the new kid on the block. Actually, this event was the hospital's way to give its employees a pat on the back for making it what it is in 1989.
One of our strongest programs that we're best known for is our cardiology services. And through the years, we have been the leader in the Dayton region in providing not only open heart surgery, but many of the diagnostic services and preventive services as well.
Kettering Medical Center is one of 5 major hospitals in the Dayton area and employs more than 3,000 people. Garanzi says it plans to continue its growth and will expand its services over the next few years.
We're looking again at our outpatient services, and over the next 2 years we hope to dramatically change our outpatient service delivery, especially here at Kettering Memorial Hospital. So there's a major planning study underway now that will lead to some renovations in that area.
Garanzi says it's hard to say what's in store for the next 25 years, but there are hopes of big breakthroughs in the diagnosis and treatment of cancer.
Bruce Asbury will be in to help you plan your weekend. The AccuWeather forecast.
Will fight against heart disease.
That's the advice from the doctors, who say we should be taking steps in our 30s to keep the nation's #1 killer from striking later on in life. Our extra report tonight explains why. If you don't have a heart problem, chances are you know someone who does. Heart disease seems to come on suddenly, often when you're in your 50s and 60s. But in reality, it's years in the making. The lifestyle decisions you make in your 30s can determine how and if you'll live into your 60s.
This is the age that people can start developing hardening in the arteries. It's the age that hypertension and high cholesterol starts resulting in blockages in arteries.
Hello, Sharon. How are you today?
How you doing?
Pretty good.
Meet 45-year-old Michael Conley, an inspector for Delco Products. If at the age of 30 you had told him a heart attack would knock him down in his 40s, he wouldn't have believed you.
Well, I woke up that morning and I thought maybe I just slept on my arm. You know, it kind of ached and I thought maybe I just slept on it wrong.
And how old were you?
42 at the time.
At this young age, there is no one definitive test that will tell you if you're going to get heart disease. The experts at Kettering Medical Center say all you can do is monitor your risk factors. If you smoke, stop. Control your blood pressure. Keep your cholesterol level low. Be on the lookout for diabetes. Eat a good diet and get regular exercise to strengthen your heart. Doctors say with the proper rehabilitation, most young survivors of heart attacks can return to work just as before. In Michael's case, it took a balloon angioplasty and a change in eating and exercise habits to make him realize the importance of what he almost lost.
You're thankful for what you got because it sure wakes you up and makes you glad you are still alive.
It's a heck of a way to do it, though.
You ain't kidding. I wouldn't recommend it to nobody.
Tomorrow night, a closer look at how exercise today can help keep heart disease away tomorrow.
Say you have to attack heart disease at a younger age.
And the battle begins with exercise. And tonight's extra report shows you how to strengthen your heart.
All right, swing it out. 6, 7, 8. Now.
With all the emphasis on exercise today, you'd think more and more people would be dancing to the beat of this kind of drummer, trying to strengthen their hearts and lengthen their lives. But according to the experts at Kettering Medical Center, that's just not happening.
It's really a small group of people. I think it's got a lot of advertisement. There's a lot of people that are really trying to exercise and do things. But the vast majority of people are still pretty sedentary in their lifestyle. There's a good percentage of Americans who are overweight, who don't follow good dietary habits and don't exercise. And those are the people we really would like to get the message across to, because those are the kind of people that have the risk factors that develop into early heart disease.
Too many people still wait until something drastic happens to them or someone they love before they take that first step to avoid heart disease. Take Ruth Backert, for instance. It took her husband's heart bypass operation to get her moving in the right direction. She now enjoys her husband's exercise group. He takes the class for rehabilitation. She takes it for prevention.
People don't realize we're living in such a lifestyle with the food combined with the lack of exercise, going from the house to the car and not walking stretches. It is really detrimental to our health. I suggest go out and do it and just take the initiative. And
getting up with the birds is no longer for the birds for this couple, who realize these daily 5:30 a.m. walks and cutting back on fatty foods could turn out to be real lifesavers.
it really turned our lives around, and we're looking for a much healthier lifestyle now.
Doctors say the easiest road to a healthy lifestyle is to stop smoking, see your physician regularly, control your blood pressure, watch your cholesterol, and be on the lookout for diabetes. Also, eat well and exercise often. Right, Jack?
Right. At least that's what they keep telling me. Sonny's
Tonight, we look at what happens if a heart attack does strike. You know, you can take comfort in the fact that modern medicine has enlisted an army of weapons to help launch an attack of its own. Two kinds of frontline soldiers fight the war against heart disease using a variety of weapons. And for the most part, they're winning more of their battles today. The first line of defense, according to the emergency room physicians, is the paramedic, the soldier who does life-saving work in the field. In the old days, paramedics would just scoop and run, but not anymore.
Many of the complications of heart attack, particularly in the realm of irregular heartbeat, things such as ventricular fibrillation, which can prove to be fatal, are treatable by the paramedics out on the field. They can defibrillate the heart, get it started going again, can give many different types of drugs which will improve the blood pressure, improve the heart rate until the patient can reach the hospital.
And that's where the second line of defense takes place, the hospital emergency room, where you find the newest weapon available today, a series of clot-dissolving drugs that blast through clogged-up arteries.
And if you can use these drugs in a rapid fashion, they can open up that artery, restoring blood flow to the heart, restoring its supply of blood, nutrients, oxygen, and minimizing any damage that might occur.
Of course, the best way to fight the war is never to engage the enemy. So, as we've said all week, eat well, exercise often, and see your doctor regularly. And keep in mind, chronic heart disease begins its invasion when you're in your 30s and 40s.
Hi, I'm Noreen Martin.
And I'm Jim Dooley.
Today, I'm going to show you how to prepare an easy yet impressive main dish.
Then we'll take a look at measuring physical fitness.
Jim and I will also be talking with Dr. Benjamin Schuster about heart disease risk factors.
Join us for these features and more on Really Livin'. In Stevens Point, Wisconsin, the townspeople are planning to live healthier, longer lives. Why? Because they believe in wellness.
And wellness is not the absence of disease. It's the designing of a lifestyle that is positive, that enables you to achieve your highest potential, and it includes all facets. So it includes nutrition and physical and stress and spiritual and certainly environmental sensitivity. It's a whole banquet of life.
There were a number of people in this community who came to some common belief that we can be masters of our own ships or destinies. And we began to work in a cooperative manner to educate and inform as broadly as possible all segments of this community that there's a lot they could be doing. And so we worked with the schools, with the churches, with public health officials, with the various industries, the YMCA, the hospital. And through continuous education and workshop participation, we have gotten the level of understanding in the community so widespread that you can almost go to any segment of the community and people will say, yes, I believe that this positive health movement is a good idea and it has some relevance for me.
Wellness starts early in Stevens Point. Elementary school children learn about their bodies and how best to take care of them.
Okay, boys and girls, the heart is about the size of your fist. Okay, and it weighs a little bit less than 1 pound. And the heart is very important because the heart gets the blood to all areas of the body.
Exercise is an important part of any wellness program, and Stevens Point has a wealth of exercise outlets. The YMCA plays a vital role in the community by boasting a whopping 5,000 members in a community of only 25,000. Besides the traditional basketball and swimming, the YMCA also offers parent-child exercise classes. Through parent reinforcement, children learn early that being active is a good thing. The Schmeckel Reserve provides natural scenic beauty for those who would rather exercise outdoors. The reserve has a fitness trail and park course, which is used extensively during warm weather. But even the bitter cold of winter won't keep some people away. The heart of the wellness program is at the University of Wisconsin at Stevens Point.
What our belief is that if we're really interested in the long-term growth and development of these students, they might be much better off learning to be a non-smoker than learning how to play volleyball or learning adequate weight control for a lifetime rather than taking fencing. Now, how often are you asked to go out and learn to fence with someone when you get out of college? It's just not something that's happening very often. And yet, many campuses require 4 hours of physical education, and the students end up graduating having taken those 4 hours, and yet they're not able to control their weight.
The Lincoln Center is a home away from home for Stevens Point senior citizens. Here they come to enjoy each other's company, and for many, to participate in aerobics classes. It will be some time before we can tell if people here live longer due to the Stevens Point Wellness Project, but people are living healthier lifestyles now.
And we show them what they can expect if they live like most Americans live. What they can expect is to die prematurely like most Americans do.
And next, Jim will show you how to measure your fitness.
Do you ever wonder how fit you are? Using the equipment in an exercise lab can help you find out. Aerobic fitness is perhaps the most popular form of physical fitness, and it can be measured in a variety of ways.
By completing exercise stages at standard workloads, exercise physiologists and other fitness specialists can determine how fit your heart, circulatory system, and respiratory system are. This subject is being monitored for blood pressure and electrocardiogram responses to progressively increasing workloads on the treadmill. At this stage, he is working at a near maximal level. When he reaches a stage where he can no longer continue, the test is stopped, and his aerobic fitness is calculated from the level of work he accomplished during the test.
A bicycle test can also be used to measure or predict aerobic fitness. By increasing the tension against the flywheel, the workload that Noreen has to pedal against can be increased. By using a metronome, Noreen can maintain proper pedal frequency. And as in the treadmill test, we can also monitor heart rate and blood pressure.
A simpler test in terms of cost and time is the step test. Once again, a metronome is used to help the subject maintain the proper step cadence. This test lasts 5 minutes. In this test, blood pressure and electrocardiogram monitoring is usually not required. Once the stepping test is completed, the pulse is monitored to determine how quickly the subject's heart rate recovers from the exercise bout. In this case, the lower the pulse, the better the fitness level of the subject. With a little imagination and creativity, this test can be performed in your own garage or family room. All you need is a metronome, a watch, a step, and a willing and able body. Of course, aerobic fitness isn't the only component of physical fitness. Proper body weight is also essential to optimal health and physical fitness. And in the past few years, tests that measure the body's leanness and fatness have been made available to the public. By determining how much the body weighs in the air and underwater, the density of the body can be determined. And from body density, the percent fat of the body can be calculated. Standards have been formulated to allow you to evaluate your fitness with regard to percent body fat. This subject was found to be 22.5% body fat, well below the 31% average for females her age. While this subject is the same height and weight, she is 35% body fat. Skin folding is also used to determine percent fat. The measures of fat in selected skin folds have been shown to approximate underwater weighing measures.
Remember, it's not how much you weigh, it's what the composition is. Research indicates a direct association between excess body fat and the incidence of heart disease and diabetes.
Of course, there is also muscular fitness. Strength and flexibility play an important role in physical fitness. Strength can be measured with gauges, barbells, sophisticated lifting devices, or simple calisthenics. One of the most overlooked areas of fitness is flexibility. By maintaining a stretch on the muscle is allowed to relax. By measuring the range of motion of different joints, flexibility can be tested. A simple sit and reach test can measure the flexibility of the hamstrings of the thighs, the back, and the shoulders.
Remember, aerobic fitness, proper body weight, and muscular fitness are all important, and they can all be measured. So if you want to know how fit you are, there is a way. Next, Noreen has some advice for those of you eating on the run.
People afflicted with snack attacks and allergies to kitchen cleanup will be happy to know that there are some other alternatives to potato chips, candy bars, and pop. For instance, we have here peanut butter kisses, made of 1/3 cup peanut butter, 1/3 cup of honey, 3/4 cup of non-fat dry milk mixed together and rolled in cornflake crumbs. There's always the old faithful standby. Still one of the lowest calorie snacks is popcorn. Try a little Parmesan cheese on it next time for a change. For those of you who have a lot of quick lunches, you might choose soups that have either bean or pea for the great nutritional value they contain. Whole grain crackers with a little mozzarella cheese on top really complement a lunch nicely. For those of you who also have to eat a lot of quick breakfasts like me, try yogurt with fresh fruit, English muffin with the applesauce, and melon chunks. And despite what people say about them being mostly water, they offer some good nutritional value. On a hot afternoon when you're out playing tennis and you need to come home to some ice cream, you might try a pudding pop. It has half the calories as the other ice cream on a stick. Well, and remember, you always could have had a V8.
What you are witnessing is a procedure thousands of Americans have had done, and thousands more will have done this year, the cardiac catheterization. Our guest today, Dr. Benjamin Schuster, is the director of the Cardiac Diagnostic Lab at Kettering Medical Center in Dayton, Ohio. He is also a clinical professor of medicine and co-director of cardiology at Wright State University School of Medicine in Dayton, Ohio. Here's Jim with our guest.
Dr. Schuster, this room is equipped with special equipment for a procedure called the heart catheterization. Just what is a heart catheterization and how can it help a physician like yourself diagnose and treat heart disease?
Heart catheterization is a special diagnostic procedure which enables us to precisely localize problems in the heart and the circulatory system. We do this by putting a little tube through one of the vessels and artery and passing it up to the heart. We measure pressures in the heart. We squirt contrast material into the vessels, the coronary arteries around the heart. We can localize obstructions. We then can determine what kind of treatment can be formulated for each and every patient who is subjected to this study.
Just what kind of person do you typically see here for the heart catheterization?
First of all, the individual must have a known coronary disease or suspected coronary heart disease. Typically, this is a male who is beyond the age of 40. There are exceptions. He is a heavy smoker. He often has hypertension. He has a history of dietary indiscretions. He may have high blood cholesterol, eats an excessive number of eggs and saturated fats in his foods, and he may also have a strong family history for heart disease. That's the typical profile. There are exceptions.
Dr. Schuster, what factors actually influence the incidence of heart disease?
Well, we know that there are risk factors which seem to accelerate this process of arteriosclerosis. Smoking is probably the #1 health hazard in this country over which we can have some control. People who smoke heavily have 3 times as frequent coronary heart disease as non-smokers. People who have high blood pressure are much more likely to develop arteriosclerosis of the arteries. People who have high blood cholesterol also. So those are problems over which we have some control. We can stop smoking, we can treat hypertension, we can watch our diet. The factors over which we have no control would be things like a very positive family history for heart disease, body build. People who are stocky, muscular seem to have be more prone to develop coronary disease than the long, thin Abraham Lincoln type. Women are less likely to have heart disease involving the coronary arteries prior to the menopause. After the menopause, they're the same as the men. So those are some of the problems over which we have control and over which we do not have control.
Getting back to the diet aspect, what relationship does saturated fat have to heart disease incidence?
People, yes, there is a relationship between a heavy consumption of saturated fats such as lard, butter, certain cheeses, thick creams, and the animal fats such as pork and pork products, and high blood cholesterol. In those countries of the world where people eat diets which are very low in saturated fats, where they concentrate on cereal grains such as rice, we see this in China, they have a very low incidence of coronary disease. In the United States and in Finland, where they eat a lot of pork products, high saturated fats, we seem to have a much higher incidence of coronary disease.
What about the smoker who's been smoking for a long period of time, who realizes that it's probably the worst thing he can do, and now he's thinking about stopping, but he says, well, why stop now? It's probably too late.
Never too late to stop, because animal experiments and even studies in human beings show that there actually is regression of the pathologic state in the arteries once one stops smoking. So the longer you stay away from cigarettes, the more towards normal the artery becomes.
And how about exercise? Just how does exercise affect risk factors in heart disease per se?
I think exercise affects it indirectly. First, people who exercise vigorously are more likely to have an optimal body weight. They're less likely to have hypertension. The blood lipids are lowered. Particularly the high density and low density lipoprotein state is altered towards a more optimal status. People who have high blood sugars, such as diabetics, are more likely to have better diabetic control. So all of these factors go into making these people less prone to suffer the consequences of a fatal heart attack or severe coronary disease than people who have sedentary lives. I'd like to cite an interesting study by the bus drivers of London. They compared the conductors with the bus drivers. The conductors are up and down all the time. The bus drivers are sitting still all the time. The bus drivers who are sedentary have a much higher incidence of coronary disease than the conductors.
So you really do notice a lifestyle difference in regards to heart disease?
Yes, definitely.
Dr. Schuster, thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
Today's recipe is quiche Florentine. Now that's just a fancy name for a spinach custard. Now fresh spinach, of course, is the best to use, but the frozen chopped spinach is sometimes more convenient, and that's what I've used here. And although a little flavor is lost, all the nutrition is retained. In a saucepan, I've put just a little bit of water, brought it to a boil, and put in the frozen chopped spinach. We're going to leave that for about 3 or 4 minutes, just long enough for it to thaw, and add it to the rest of the ingredients. Now in a skillet, I've had some onions sauteing, about 1/3 cup. And now that they look like they've been cooked, we're going to add to that another product, prosage. Prosage is one of the more tasty vegetable protein products derived from soybeans, and it's an excellent protein without all that cholesterol and saturated fat. That's its real advantage. It comes frozen and can be purchased in most health food stores. As you can see, I'm just crumbling this in between my fingers. And we're going to let it brown and absorb the flavor of the onion in there. Okay, we can leave that a while, and as that's cooking, move on to our other ingredients. The key ingredient here to use in this quiche is the baby Swiss cheese. And the reason I've chosen is because it is lower in fat than some of the cheddar type cheeses. I've just grated it here. It's about 1 cup's worth. The spinach should be ready now. And of course, since it's always a shame to drain off the liquid because some of the nutrients go with it, we'll try to retain some of that. But it does seem to have a tendency to give it a soggy crust if we save too much of the liquid. Okay, now in with the cheese. And you at home may want to let the processage brown a little longer, but it looks like here we'll go ahead and mix it in with our spinach and cheese. The aroma is great. Okay, we'll mix all this together. And as soon as we mix that, we put into a pie plate, a 10-inch pie shell. And you may be one to bake your own at home, but sometimes we do have to rely on those commercially frozen pie shells. It's been partially pre-baked. Okay, let's just dump it in there. And now, the easiest part is to take our egg and milk combination. We start here with 1 cup of milk, and to that I add 3/4 of a cup of egg beaters. Now, whenever possible, I like to try to cut down the calories and the fat in recipes, and because 1/4 a cup of egg beaters represents 1 egg, and it normally calls for 3 eggs, we're using a 3/4 of a cup. Okay, that should take care of it. And then doing it in a measuring cup makes it very convenient to begin pouring over our dry ingredient mixture here. Be very generous with it. Leave it for a few seconds just to soak up. And you may or may not use all of it. Looks like a beautiful pie. This is probably the only thing you have to put on the table after it's been baked. We put it at 375 for about a half hour. If you'd like to have this recipe, write to Really Livin' in care of this station.
Most of us associate stress with unpleasantness and frustration. Pressure at work, problems at home, money worries, traffic jams. Everyone has his own personal collection of stressors. But stress is a complicated series of body reactions to everything that happens to us. Even the happy times in our lives produce stress and can wear the body down. We will be talking today with 3 doctors on the topic of stress. First, Dr. Vaninga.
Stress in and of itself is not bad. I mean, if we didn't have stress, we'd be dead. Stress by itself is not bad. It's unrelieved stress that's bad, that's negative. And so it's the stress that goes on day after day, year after year. That's what scientists worry about, because that starts to erode your physiological health.
Each one of us cracks at our weakest link. Some people under the same stress will get ulcers. Some will get colitis. Some will get asthma. Some will get angina. Some will begin to stutter. Some will get neurodermatitis, skin reaction, rashes.
For a growing number of people, unfortunately, too much stress results in some kind of crisis, such as a nervous breakdown. Current research also links stress to a host of diseases, including heart disease and high blood pressure. And to complicate matters, the most popular stress remedies, drugs and alcohol, create other problems of monumental proportion. Stress management specialists are emphasizing what they call a total wellness approach, in which learning to control stress is part of a complete good health program.
Number 1 is proper weight, proper diet, proper nutrition. This is extremely important. Number 2 is proper exercise. And number 3 is breaking the cigarette smoking habit. Not just controlling it, breaking the cigarette smoking habit. And number 4 is the control of drugs and alcohol, particularly alcohol. And number 5 is stress management. And those 5 building blocks are the important building blocks of any wellness concept. And for a program to be very, very successful, you must consider all 5.
A person who isn't totally healthy has a reduced ability to handle stress. Dr. Cooper recognizes cigarette smoking and drinking alcohol as major hazards.
The worst health hazard that we have in America today is cigarette smoking, and I believe that. But very close to that is a problem with alcohol. We know at least 19 to 20 million Americans are alcoholics at the present time. We know at least 3 million of those people are teenagers.
Concerns about stress in the workplace have often focused on the business executive. Executive stress, they called it, and linked it to heart attacks, nervous breakdowns, and poor productivity. Now, many companies are taking positive action that often includes the entire workforce.
There's a new concern, I think, emerging about the health and the vitality and the well-being about employees. We know, for instance, that 1/3 of all absences at work are generally thought to be attributed to stress-related problems. That's a tremendous expense for business and for industry. And so employers are saying, what can we do to make this work environment better for people?
But while most American executives are learning to take better care of themselves, and while more companies are taking action to control work stress, new concerns are emerging about a rapidly growing part of the American workforce.
80% of all working women today are in dead-end jobs. Jobs where they're undervalued, oftentimes underpaid, and underappreciated. And so they're working hard at low-paying jobs, and then they go home and they have another job at home. And so it's those individuals in particular whom we have a great deal of concern about. The working woman is an individual at particularly high risk, and that it seems to be particularly true if they have children at home whom they are concerned about.
A number of stress management techniques apply to any working person. Learn to set priorities. Use a natural tranquilizer like exercise or a hobby. And finally, learn to identify and manage stress. If you need more help in that area, contact a local hospital or university to see what kind of related programs they offer.
Babysitting is a great way for teenagers to make extra money. It is also a job of great responsibility. The lives of little children are dependent upon the skill and competency of their babysitter. Hi, I'm Lieutenant Bob Trieber, and I am sure you're like I am. When I need my car repaired or need something fixed around the house, I make sure that person's qualified. Babysitters are no exception. When selecting a babysitter, ask for and check out references, and ask if the babysitter has participated in a babysitting training program. Many communities offer these programs, which give practical training in the areas of first aid, safety, emergency procedures for fire, rescue, and police. At the completion of these programs, the prospective sitter is given a test, and if he or she passes, they are given a certificate. Some of the responsibilities of a sitter include being with the children at all times, and not on the phone talking to friends or riveted to a TV while the children play in other areas. Sitters should not smoke on the job or use fireplaces, wood stoves, or light candles. Sitters should not operate stoves or try to juggle a small child and a hot drink or a hot pan at the same time. And never leave a small child in the bathtub unattended. It takes just a second for a child to drown or get scalded. But there are also responsibilities for the parents to leave information, like your name, your address, emergency phone numbers, such as police, fire, and rescue, and where the parents can be reached, and any special instructions, such as medication and bedtime. Your children's lives depend upon your babysitter, and it's up to you to make the right selection of a sitter and know their qualifications.
Our quiche should be done now. Oh, it looks scrumptious. I've garnished it with a little tomato rose and a little parsley. Doctor, I want you to see if that meets your approval.
It's so delicious. It really stimulates my gustatory senses.
Oh, that's a doctor for you.
For the snack recipes and the recipe for this quiche Florentine, write to Really Livin in care of this station.
part of Kettering Medical Center's Really Livin'.